Hey.
Squid Game Season 2. Behind the scenes, what it all means.
And anything else we can think of.
And anything in between.
I think we had this conversation the other day where you said, tell me a sequel that's better than the original.
Whoa, you think that Squid Game Season 2 is better than Season 1?
I'm not going to openly say that, but I will say that in terms of like sequels and Season 2s, follow-ups, this has to be like top of the top, better than like any other sequel I've seen.
On Netflix.
It at least hits like top 3 or something.
Here's what I'll say. So, Season 2, Squid Game, has more meaning behind it than Season 1. We'll get into that.
Oh, yeah.
The philosophy of what is going on behind the game. But I think that Season 1 was just so iconic that they were like, if we just do something similar, it's not going to hit the same.
I agree. And I think what's really interesting about this is, so they started filming in 2019, or they filmed in 2019, Season 1. Mm-hmm. Then they edited it. There's a ton of VFX work that went on, so it took forever to come out into production or come out on Netflix. And then once it came out, it was going for like 3 years, and then that's when they started filming the next one. So there was a 5-year gap between filming the first season and the second season. In that 5 years, the director and writer has said he spent all 3 years writing Season 2.
Right. And
which
it shows.
Is crazy. Because when you start watching it, you're like, well, is this just going to be another Squid Game Season 1?
Yes.
And then it is nowhere near.
I promise you, if you're watching this podcast and you watch through Season 2 and you're like, what are they talking about? Go back and watch it again after we talk about what everything actually means. It will hit different. And
if you haven't seen, then know that they're spoilers.
They're spoilers.
So
Season 2, what does it mean? Basically, Season 2 is the story of there are these elite people or people who have fought through the Squid Game. I'll get to that in a minute. But basically, the whole question is, are the, quote, not from me, are the trash of society, that's a quote from the recruiter, do they deserve to live? That's literally the question.
I think there's obviously a weird translation there, too. Because there's a lot of people, a lot of Koreans that are saying the translation or the subtitles aren't properly translating with the subtitles.
Okay.
And I think some of the words
just
are
let me keep going though.
Okay.
Let me keep going.
Okay.
And the entire kind of fight of Season 2 is the front man who enters the game, spoiler, who's like, they don't. They're trash, versus Gi-Hun, who's like, everyone deserves a chance to live. We're all people, whatever. And what we see in Season 2 is the crumbling of Gi-Hun's resolve over the games, where even his principles of playing games by the rules, which we see at the beginning when he does the 50-50 and doesn't shoot the guy when he could have, it breaks apart when the vote he knows isn't going to go his way, which is also 50-50 to continue playing the game. And he goes, screw it. I understand that we're breaking the rules of the game, but I will ruin my own principles to get what I want.
And it's funny because I think the front man manipulated him into thinking a little bit like that too. 100%. I think he saw it himself, but he 100% manipulated him. Mm-hmm. It's just really interesting because the front man obviously said like they're the trash of society, but he also competed in the games. And he won the games.
Yes.
So he was trash at one point.
Yes.
So it's very elitist to all of a sudden be like, I won Squid Game. I'm now better than everyone else here. But he also runs the game, so I don't know.
So this is interesting because then that also plays into the recruiter's role, where the recruiter says, yeah, I worked for the Squid Game for so long. I was a circle, then a triangle, and now that I'm like this recruiter. So in his mind, he's like, I worked my way up in society. And maybe those like games that he's playing with like the bread or the lottery ticket,
that was
like
crazy.
Maybe that's just on his own volition. That's not even from the game.
It's possible
to prove to himself, oh, I am better than these people.
Yeah.
And they don't deserve
like
what
an
I
ego
have to
boost
offer.
or something.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what? That's really interesting too, because I think the recruiter in Season 1 was obviously a very pivotal role. He gets everyone to this island. He gets everyone to be involved in Squid Game. When he finally appeared in this season, I was like, well, shit, it's gonna be the same thing as every time. That rock, paper, scissors game First off, I've never seen rock paper scissors played like that.
Minus one.
Never seen rock paper scissors -1 played. And I was like, that is a crazy game.
It's actually pretty sweet. Hey?
Have you played it before?
No.
I was like, damn, this is an amazing game.
It makes rock paper scissors better.
I'm bringing this into my life somehow. But it was not in the same way. But I was so happy. Never been happy for someone to like get killed off. But it was crazy that he like got his revenge and he was like happy about it. Like when he lost the game, he was like, damn. And the funny part about that too is it does seem, spoilers and theories aside, I feel like it does seem that everyone that's involved in Squid Game who runs it are massive proponents for games.
And following the rules.
Follow the rules of the game.
Right.
Now there's a couple theories about the front man where he maybe had broken the rules. Like when he disappeared during the carousel game.
Right.
Where he's like, no, it's okay. I'll find somewhere to get in. And then he just appeared afterwards.
He saves the pregnant woman.
Saved the pregnant woman.
Yes.
So he's got morals. But it's
at least
some morals.
Well, if you think about it, okay, so his wife who passed away was
Yeah.
pregnant. Maybe that's the connection.
Maybe.
But he has some level of moral good. But then in the same game,
Yeah.
I think that the director just like
Oh my
yanks you
God.
back to the reality of it when he's like, oh, I just have to kill the guy.
That was so crazy. And I knew in that moment that Gi-Hun's friend was going to die because he witnessed him. I know that Frontman saw the look of like death in his eyes when he was like killing that person.
Yeah.
And I think in that moment as like an audience member, I was like, oh man, Frontman's going to kill this guy. Guaranteed. He done.
Yeah.
We're never going to see this guy again.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to kill him in that room afterwards, but he didn't. Crazy. I was sweating in so many of these scenes. In that specific scene, what was it called? Not the carousel, but like whatever. Maybe it was.
Oh, the Mingle game?
Yeah, the Mingle game. Yeah. I was like, wow. I wonder, like this is a beautiful set. I wonder what the VFX were like. Netflix released the BTS 2 days ago. The whole thing, practical.
Yeah. I'm sure the one thing
Blew
that I
me
was
away.
thinking when I was watching it was I'm sure that the only thing that's not quote unquote practical, and even the whole carousel thing moved.
Which is crazy.
They said,
and the people.
And they said that they did some real simulation where they're just like, yeah, 6 people. And then people were like, and they had to actually figure out what to do, like as actors.
Oh, that is
which
so
awesome.
Sick.
The one thing that I was like, okay, they surely must have changed is they must have been able to remove some of the walls just to get into those tight spaces.
Oh,
to
for
film.
sure.
But obviously, that's just filmmaking. Like,
For sure.
whatever.
And that's easy. And you know what? I think the sets themselves are so beautifully designed.
Yes.
I love the geometric shapes. It all just looks so friendly and it's just so sinister at the same time. Like the actual like set design is so brilliant. Yeah. But I really did like one of the things I was saying this morning was I was like there for sure. I thought watching all the BTS footage. I found so many videos last night. For sure, there's virtual production. There's some sort of like LED volumes in there. And the only reason I thought that was there was some government funding associated to Squid Game or attributed to it.
Okay.
The South Korean government and Seoul has so many virtual production facilities. Like there is nowhere cheaper to use a facility than there is in Seoul.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, like they give you like 2 full days in a, facility, whatever. It's a $75 million USD budget. I was like, for sure, virtual production. Not one that I could find.
Right.
Which is crazy. I mean, honestly impressive.
Yeah.
I feel like we had this conversation about Wicked, but I was just like, kind of crazy.
It makes it more real, and
It
especially
does.
like with red light, green light.
Oh, yeah.
Using all 400 whatever people, it's crazy. Like I can't imagine being an actor.
Insane.
How do you wrangle that many people to be like, all right, we're gonna play a children's game, but like, your job as an extra is just to follow the rules of the game. How do you wrangle that many people? It's so impressive.
For sure. And like, I think wrangling 455 of those people would have been difficult. I think wrangling Thanos would have been even more difficult.
Welcome to the Thanos world.
I really hope that he acts that way in real life too.
Genuinely, number one best character of
I
the
agree.
entire season is Thanos.
And his story behind it.
Yeah,
all
the
of it.
story behind TOP or Top is amazing. If you don't know it, we'll say basically Top was a Korean pop star.
Yeah.
He was caught with possession of marijuana, which is illegal in Korea. He was sentenced to 10 months in jail, but he didn't go. He had a 2-year probation period. But basically, the way that celebrities and K-pop and whatever work in the South Korean kind of infrastructure is that it's all kind of state sponsored and sanctioned.
Yeah.
Obviously, this was against what the Korean government wants for a K-pop star, so they just literally excommunicated him since 2018.
Yeah,
he hasn't
like,
been in
anything.
a production.
Nope.
He got kicked out of his group called, I think it's called like Big something.
Yeah,
I forget.
Bang Bang or
Bang, yeah, Big Bang
or something like that.
It took for the main actor of Squid Game, who has always been a proponent and friend of Top, to be like, hey, I think that he should be in the Netflix show.
And he convinced the director.
He convinced the director, and apparently the director was also convinced by Top himself when he met him.
I think he was still hesitant because he was like, this is a big role, and I don't know if we want to bring someone with that sort of influence behind them into it. But then he said, okay, I'll do it for free. I will donate, I won't do it for any salary. And then they let him do it. And I'm honestly so glad they did, because incredible character.
I am curious to see kind of how this plays out in his future career, because we said, the Korean kind of infrastructure is not friendly to people who break the rules inside of pop culture.
Yeah.
So where does he go from here?
I don't know where he will. Hopefully he's in other stuff. I feel like South Korean content like this has become very popular in North America, because it's a different style of production. I do think that Squid Game brings I wouldn't say Hollywood, but it brings a really cool style of production to the market that's not typical, I feel like, of Korean dramas, but it still is similar. But I don't know. It hasn't a North Americanized sense around it.
Right.
The one thing I thought was really interesting about Squid Game from the writing perspective that relates to Thanos specifically is this stays true, I think, in a lot of dramas from Korea. Something about them, the way that Korean dramas are written, and I don't know if that's just different from North America, they're not afraid to kill people. Okay, and let me explain this. They're not afraid to be like, oh, this person has grown in popularity or is gonna skyrocket in popularity, or they're already a famous star. We got to keep them going to the last episode because we want people to watch this.
Right.
They're like, Thanos, best character, dead, gone. We don't care, gone.
I'm sure that a lot of people who watched it, including our cameraman, was extremely happy when he died. That's all that I'm gonna say. Because he was the perfect character in the sense of he was the perfect annoying character.
Yeah.
It was awesome to watch, and just having his little band of people who were we're just having fun, doesn't matter. I mean, his backstory is hey, I was gonna kill myself anyway, and then I joined the game.
So why not?
Also crazy, relating back to his real life, that the director was so you're a failed rapper who's currently on drugs.
Okay,
do you know anything about that?
I wonder if it was either inspired by him, or the character was they molded the character after him afterwards. Once they cast him, do you think they?
I don't know. Maybe they changed the script a little bit. I mean, very brave of him for sure to take on this role and to be hey, this is the most on the nose this character could possibly be to who I am. But let's just embrace it and see what people think of it. And it has gone over very, very well.
Do you remember the girl that he tried to hit on, first episode?
Yes.
In the red light, green light, there's this girl. She was popular or whatever.
That is a great example of let's just kill them off.
Yes. There's people, everyone online's oh my God, she's going to be in it till the very end. And they were just bam, dead.
It also brings me back to another point that I wanted to make in this podcast, which everyone watches Squid Game season 1 and they're like, wow, this is all just entertainment for the VIPs. This is crazy. They know what's going to happen. They know what people are going to die. Now let me just maybe this is a little bit too
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
We at home watching Squid Game season 2 are the VIPs.
I've seen this theory and I like that. Because there is a scene where they break the fourth wall.
And we also know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
At this point, we know that,
they're gonna
all
die.
these people are going to die.
Yeah, we've seen it happen before.
Still watching.
Yeah. There is this one point where the front man basically convinces Gi-Hun that his moral flag should be put down and whatever. Right. And that's when they're talking about this. And they're they're watching us from everywhere. And there's this very crazy part where Gi-Hun goes like this, and everyone looks up, and they all stare at the camera. They're all staring at us, the VIPs. But as soon as I saw the subtitle coming, I was like, I'm not looking at him. I'm looking at the front man. And if you notice at that very clip, everybody looks up except the front man. The front man looks and stares right at Gi-Hun and just like he doesn't even follow it because he knows. And so there's almost a moment in my thoughts where I'm like, does front man think that Gi-Hun's onto him?
Right.
But then there are so many other theories that, and I don't know. I'm gonna give you a couple ones here. Couple theories.
Okay, yeah, let's go crazy theories. And this is leading into season 3 as well.
This is.
Okay.
So
what's gonna happen next?
Okay. So there's a couple theories on this. The old man from season 1 who died, the rich old man who was also player number 1,
original founder of the games,
is the dad of Frontman. That is theory number 1. Now, that is sort of dispelled because Frontman says he has no money and his dad clearly had billions of won.
Wait, hold on. Maybe it's not dispelled because maybe his dad thinks that he's trash and leading into the continued thought that he's not worth it.
True. That's a valid point. Okay, here's another one. And the reason we know that is there's a scene in season 1 where the main character, Gi-Hun, goes, do you have any non-regular milk? Like, do you have chocolate milk? And they're like, no, you get regular milk. And he's like, okay. The milk theory is wild. It's all over the place.
Milk theory.
Have you heard this? No?
No.
Okay. So there's a scene in season 1, he asked for milk. And they're like, do you have chocolate milk? And they were like, no. And he was like, oh, I don't drink this. And then he grabs it, he walks away, he's all sad. And then the old man comes up behind him, player number 1, and he goes, you don't like regular milk? My son's the same way. And then it cuts to a clip where he passes off the regular milk to the pregnant woman and says, I don't like regular milk. Right? And so it's like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
Okay,
but
sure.
Then there is another
loose thread.
That's a loose thread.
I like it though.
An even looser thread is that Gi-Hun and the frontman are actually brothers. And that is something where they both don't like regular milk.
Okay.
But it's like stepbrothers of some kind.
Okay.
So there's a weird thing. And the reason people think this is there's so many shared looks where like frontman's like leaning into him or like touching him or like whatever. Like there's a lot of weird like
Wait, does frontman know that's
frontman? Yeah. Knows they're brothers.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a theory. I see.
So then police guy is also brothers?
No. So here's this. Get this. Hold up. I'm not done. There's a scene in this season 2, where the policeman is having dinner with his mom, and the mom makes a comment and says,
yes,
I can't help but think your brother's still mad at me. Is it because I'm not his birth mother? Which immediately revealed to us that the policeman and frontman are actually stepbrothers.
Yes.
Which means there's a different dad, which makes it possible that they're related.
2 loose threads can make a strong cord.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Theory confirmed.
So here's another one.
Okay.
This is a soft one. I'll make my big reveal after.
I'm down.
The first one is that player 100, the really rich guy, like when he's like the most in debt, 45 billion won or something.
Yeah.
The theory is that he is a VIP. There's a clip of him with a mask on from season 1 that like he's got a very similar body type. And so people are theorizing that he's actually a VIP who wanted to play in the game or who got in debt. So he wanted to play in the game or something like that.
And that's how he heard about the game.
Or he just wanted to join the game because he's a VIP. So he decided to join it.
Right.
Because a lot of his like outlooks and perspective, he's very much a proponent of like, no, we're going to play.
He's a total VIP, man.
I don't know. And there's a lot of convincing clips where maybe that VIP member doesn't end up in very tricky situations. Like who knows?
This
like,
is fun.
And an example of this, so when player number, sorry, I'm on a tangent here, but when player number 1 goes away in the mingle game, there's a theory, obviously, that like he went into a stall by himself and then obviously looked at the camera and then the camera people were like, no, we're not going to kill him. Don't worry. He's safe, right?
Right.
But in the game where they did the 5 mini games, if you remember.
You mean the 6-legged?
The 6-legged, yeah. Do you remember what order they went? Do you remember what order they went in? They went last. If they happened to lose the game,
no one
they
else
would kill.
See.
Exactly. They would kill everybody else but player number 1. And the same thing happened to player number 1 in season 1, where he would go last in the group games. Just in case.
Like when he died,
he
was in an area so private, no one saw him.
Well, and the guard saw, and one of the guards saw him and was like, immediate death. So
Interesting.
Crazy.
I wonder how if they would have lost. Okay, obviously they couldn't have lost because Gi-Hun was in their group, so it would have ruined everything. But if they would have lost, how would they have reintroduced 001 to the game? Or would they have just not? He would have just been the game master again, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Because it's also like he wasn't in red light, green light. He was drinking his scotch.
There's just so many different layers to this, like to Squid Game. It's like, it's so funny because I follow this channel called In Deep Geek. Normally they talk about really deep theories about like Game of Thrones, The Witcher, Lord of the Rings, and he just started an introductory to Squid Game because there's so many different tendrils to this thing.
That's a hilarious word.
Tendrils. Squid Game.
But
Robert, if you're watching this, cheers.
but like, what about tentacles? It's a squid. I'm not done. Don't rush me out of here.
We're still on theories?
Yes.
One more?
Well, I'll give you one more,
He's
but one
got
thing,
a few
okay,
more.
based on what you're saying right now is kind
Yeah,
of interesting, and I'm glad that someone's breaking them down. In that six-legged game, what game was he playing, frontman? It was meant to be obvious right away that he's a frontman.
Right.
obviously.
The spinning thing. But hold on, can I go off on this
Yeah,
one?
absolutely.
Okay, I don't know why he delayed because this doesn't make sense to me. But in the end of season 1, he shoots Detective Boy with his left hand.
Yep.
Now he's screwing up the top game over and over and over and over and over again with his right hand.
Yeah.
And then when he successfully does it, it's with his left hand.
Yep.
I'm not sure why.
He wanted to
maybe
build.
he was testing them.
He wanted to make. I think he wanted to not arouse any suspicion. If he got it right away and he was too good at it, I think at some point someone would be like, "Wow, you were so good at that."
Right.
So I think because they gave him any game, so you want it. I think he's trying to play the part.
Yeah.
And the other thing about that too is,
And then he had the rage out.
yes. Don't think about the gun thing. Think about 5 seconds before when he was drinking scotch with his left hand and he turned the TV on with his left hand and he took his mask off with his left hand. All of it was his left hand. So it was just the episode before, a few minutes before, where that happened.
Interesting.
So it's really interesting. I think he's a really good actor and he loves playing this part.
Genuinely, he's my favorite part in Squid Game
is.
season 2. He's my favorite character.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
agree.
Why he's doing this, I'm really confused. Maybe it's because he's so intrigued. He's on one side where he has won the game before, and he's like, I've won the game, but the games will continue because they're required. And he's like a nihilistic standpoint. But then he's so fascinated that there's Gi-Hun who wants to end the game by joining the game. So he's like, the only way to match his energy is to join myself.
100%. I love the commitment. It's insane. Now,
But there's no risk for him.
there isn't any risk.
So is
but he
there
could
risk?
die.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Was there ever a risk for Gi-Hun? Because we know that he's not going to die.
No. Well, I think, though, that was, as obviously the beginning of the season 2 was a little bit slower and you're trying to figure out what's happening. I think the director and writer did a great job of making it seem like he's dead to everyone. He thinks it's blood money. He's got the money piled up. He's not using it. He's got this decrepit motel. He's going to all costs. He's risking his life to basically take down the recruiter. Like he has no purpose in life. So I feel like they do a great job of showing that he would do anything to stop it, even if it means dying.
Right.
But I also think going into season 3, the biggest theory that I have on this is it has now become very obvious. Obviously, they told us this, but it's very obvious that player number 1 or frontman is the inside person, right? I think that he has a little bit of a red herring.
Really?
I do think there is somebody else in the game that is a bigger person than him.
I have actually, hold on. This is the third.
Are you about to hit my last theory?
I've got a theory that I think you're going to say.
I've been saving this one, so I hope it is.
The boat captain.
Nope, this isn't it, but this is a great theory.
The boat captain is the game captain.
No, but he is the captain.
And
they do
the
refer to him as
front
captain.
man is the front man to the actual whatever, which is boat captain. Now that's a really loose thread. But
I think on that theory, I think boat captain is the captain. In season 1, they talk about the boat captain or the captain being mad or the captain having this plan. So I do think that captain is actually taking advantage of Squid Game and just selling the organs. And I think he's the one that's selling the organs because how did they dispose of the organs once they got them in season 1?
Sure.
They scuba dived. which means there's got to be a boat they go to, which is like, oh, they were probably delivering organs when what's-his-face fell off the side of the mountain, and then he saved him. So you knew right away that he was the bad guy.
Okay, that one's much more feasible than mine,
Yes.
I will
But-
say.
But
But I like that.
I'm going to hit you with something else. My final theory, that player 147, I think, the old woman, she is the wife of the original player number 1.
Okay.
Now, the theory, there's a couple things that go on to
This
this.
is me right now?
Yes, I know, with the red lines. Yeah, I need a board here. We need some remarkers. And that the curly-haired son who's like addicted to gambling,
Yeah.
he's the actual son of player number 1 from the original season 1.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
they were talking about there's things that the old man said about regretting his life and making mistakes, and then there's a thing where she's rolling the dice or playing gong-gi or something, and the kid says, just think about dad with his mistress,
Right.
and like how awful a person, right? So
No!
there's this theory going around that she is the wife of him, and
He had that child when he was so old.
Yeah.
Man.
yeah.
Whoa.
So I don't know. It's like it's become very obvious that front man is like, the front man, and
Yeah.
it's very clear. But going into season 3, I don't think that's all they want us to think about. I don't think they want us to be like that's the surprise for season 2. I think there's going to be a bigger one in season 3, and it's going to be something like that.
I'm just
digest
like,
that.
what happens next? Obviously, there's going to be a intervention within the guards, and then even the director said season 2 and especially season 3 are going to focus on the guard perspective, right?
Yes, and it's
So-
great because we haven't seen player 11 in the last couple episodes.
Operator 11 or whatever,
Operator
sniper
11,
girl.
yes.
Boom, boom, boom.
Theory, which I think is a pretty strong one, that she is the sister of the girl from season 1, the one who died,
Yes.
and that makes sense to me.
And she recognizes the guy who
Yes.
is also a defector as well.
Yep. So I
Yeah,
think that
100%.
there's obviously like that element, and I'm excited to see more of her.
Oh my gosh.
So many good theories.
So many tendrils.
So many
little
tentacles.
time.
Now, what else you got on your notes? Because
Well, I have one
okay,
theory that was talked about, which in my opinion doesn't go into the realm of what's going on. But basically, let me break down the Van Gogh theory.
I'm sorry. What? The Van Gogh
All right,
theory?
here we go. So when they get into the front man's apartment, okay, it's like a wreck. He's clearly won the game at this point, but
The
he's
front man? What do you mean?
when they open up his partner, it's a mess. He's behind on rent, whatever. But there's specifically a book of Van Gogh that I saw someone do an analysis on, and it's on the blue period of Van Gogh's life, when he only painted blue because he was in depression, because he looked at how pointless life was. That was the front man after he won the game. Now, you're wondering, why does this relate at all? Because when Van Gogh got out of his depressive state, he started painting himself with really, really red hair like he had. Now, who had red hair at the beginning of season 2?
Gi-Hun.
And he is our aspirational light for hope of humanity, which got Van Gogh out of that state of depression during his life. It's a much deeper
So
theory.
are you saying that front man's apartment or Gi-Hun's apartment?
Frontman is the depressive bad state. Gi-Hun is the alternate, which also fights their war
Interesting.
between the two of them,
Interesting.
where one is
Interesting.
altruistic and the other is nihilistic.
Interesting. That's
Too deep?
a little deep.
Too deep?
That's okay. I got one more thing to lighten the mood if that's all you got to talk about. I've been saving it for last. We got a 3D printer here at CoPilot.
Oh no.
And I knew this was going to be the topic today before I told Josh, and I did something to finish this podcast.
What are we doing? Oh my gosh. Oh, hell yeah.
Printed the
Oh
gong-gi
my
dice. I've
gosh.
never played this game.
Me neither.
And I've always wanted to play because after seeing it, obviously, I've been like so curious about it.
Oh
so
my gosh.
I printed them in the colors that we have, and I thought Josh would play and give us a little, see if we can do it.
Oh.
So how it works is you pick up one at a time individually, which I'm sure you know already, and then you pick up Once you pick up all of them individually.
Throw one, catch.
Yeah, and then the next one is
Throw
1,
2, catch.
Yeah, it's 1, 2, and then the rest of them. Or it's 2, then the rest of them, something like that. And then you have to do the
Back
on
of
your
the
hand and then catch it again. Show us how it's done.
So I throw it.
Okay. Now you got to pick up 1. Yeah.
Done.
Yep.
Right? And then,
Oh, yeah. Then you grab 1. And you do them all individually here.
no, it's 2, right?
No, this one's 1. No, this one's 1. It's all 1 individually. Pick up 1 stone at a time.
Okay.
But by launching it into the air and catching it in the same hand, this is then repeated until there are no stones left on the surface.
Okay, so I picked up 1. So now I need to throw 2 in the air? No.
So you pick up 1
Yeah.
and then pick up another. Oh, you can just throw 1 in the
Oh,
air.
you just throw 1. You just throw
Yeah,
1.
and then you pick up-
understood. And then you
Then
do
2 and then the other 2. So you're supposed to strategically pick them up when, yeah.
Oh, wait.
Oh, what
Last
was
chance,
that?
last Okay.
Up. Nice.
Oh!
Oh!
Hold on. Last chance. Last chance.
Yo,
last chance.
if I'm your partner, we're dead. Sure.
How do I actually do this?
I think you're supposed to like do a small. You have to make sure they try and get close together.
Like this?
You have to be strategic. So do this one, then do those ones.
Okay. Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Hey, that's good. Yeah. Okay. Now roll them all again. Now you got to pick up 2. So throw it and pick up 2. Oh. Oh wow! I didn't even think about it.
No,
Okay.
you're good. You get the first one. You get the first one.
Okay.
now.
Oh. Oh wait, I didn't even fuck that up.
Throw first.
Okay. I have to put the
Throw
mic.
first.
This is such a tough game.
I'd also like to note that the guy who had to do this in the game practiced for like days apparently, and then
Yeah.
on the day they brought in a professional, and he was
So
like, "I
funny.
didn't even get to play."
So you pick it up. Okay, this is so fucked.
Good.
Then I throw this one.
Yep. I mean, yeah, sure, but now do 2.
Okay, well, I'm about to. Okay, so I think I'm gonna pick up.
Yeah. Pick up a triangle. Pick up a triangle.
I'm dead. We can't kill each other on this podcast. That's illegal. We're gonna get taken down.